Let's dive into a world where your handkerchief can double as a stage, and where an entire army can be won over with just a single act of kindness. This is the story of Gulliver's travels, and it really boils down to one simple question. What does it truly mean to be big or to be small? And it all starts with this. Our hero, Lemuel Gulliver, he sets out to sea looking for a fortune. But what he finds is so much stranger and honestly way more valuable. He's about to discover that the greatest treasures aren't gold, but things like understanding and empathy. And this is really the heart of it all. What happens when, through absolutely no fault of your own, you suddenly become the villain in somebody else's narrative? From the second Gulliver washes up on that beach, he's not himself anymore. He's not a man, he's a man-mountain, and his entire journey from here on out is a battle against that label. So let's meet this so-called monster. Lemuel Gulliver is no warrior. Not at all. He is a ship's surgeon, a man of science and reason. His greatest tools aren't his fists. They're his curiosity and his pretty gentle nature. And in a land that's ruled by fear, those qualities, well, they're about to become his most powerful weapons. I mean, just imagine this for a second. You survive a shipwreck, you collapse on a beach, and then you wake up and you can't move. Not because of big, heavy chains, but because of thousands of tiny little threads staked to the ground by an army of people no bigger than your fingers. The fear, the sheer confusion, it must have been just overwhelming. Now, if you want to understand where the Lilliputians are coming from, just look at this number, 1,500. That's how many of their horses it took just to drag Gulliver's unconscious body. This wasn't just a capture, this was a massive feat of engineering. It's a testament to what a determined society can pull off, no matter how small they are. And right here, you can see the total clash of two different realities. What's completely normal for Gulliver is absolutely monumental for the Lilliputians. A single loaf of his bread could probably feed an entire village. His handkerchief becomes a public stage. This completely absurd difference in scale is the source of all the fear, all the wonder, and yeah, a lot of the comedy that's about to unfold. So, that first contact, it's not exactly peaceful. The Lilliputians are terrified, so they do what you might expect. They attack. Their arrows are basically just pins to Gulliver, barely pricking his skin. But the message is crystal clear. They see him as a massive threat, and their fear is very, very real. But, eventually, violence gives way to basic needs. Gulliver is starving. The Lilliputians are cautious. So they make a deal, a really simple transaction. He stops struggling, and they give him food. And we're talking cartloads of it. This is the very first, very fragile bridge built between these two worlds. Okay, now let's switch gears and look at this from a political angle. The Emperor of Lilliput, he's more than just a tiny king. He's a pretty sharp strategist. He starts to see past the fear and spots an opportunity. This man-mountain isn't just a problem to be managed. He's a living, breathing superweapon to be aimed. So the whole dynamic shifts from just survival to pure strategy. And this, right here, this is the moment everything hangs on. A few foolish soldiers decide to attack Gulliver again. They get caught, of course, and they're brought before him. The Lilliputian commander, fully expecting some brutal, swift punishment, basically tells Gulliver, have at it. Punish them however you want. So just put yourself in Gulliver's shoes for a minute. You're a prisoner, you've been attacked more than once, and now your attackers are literally in the palm of your hand. What do? This single choice is going to define his entire future in Lilliput. Gulliver's response is just pure theater. It's brilliant. First, he gives them exactly the monster they expect him to be. He lifts the tiny soldiers up to his mouth, and you can just imagine the entire crowd holding its breath in terror. And then, in a stunning act of grace, he pulls out his knife and just cuts their bonds, setting them free. That one act of mercy completely rewrites the entire story. The crowd, which was expecting to see something gruesome, just erupts in cheers. In a single instant, the monster proved he had a heart. The prisoner is no longer a threat. He's starting to look like a protector. And once that trust is there, the relationship just blossoms in these really charming ways. He's not a chained beast anymore. Kids are playing hide and seek in his hair. His handkerchief becomes a military training ground. And the moment they recover his giant hat, which just looks ridiculous to them, it becomes this moment of shared laughter that brings the giant and the whole kingdom together. See, these aren't some grand political treaties. They're just small human interactions. It's play, it's laughter, it's a shared spectacle. And it's through these simple moments that the terrifying man mountain actually becomes part of the fabric of Lilliputian society. Now, this whole transformation, it doesn't go unnoticed. There's this wise minister, Raldrosal, and he sees what's really going on. He realizes Gulliver's true potential isn't just his raw power, but the combination of that power with mercy. They don't just have a weapon, they have a potential ally. And just like that, the transformation is complete. The fearsome monster has become a gentle protector. The mindless threat is now a powerful ally, and the huge drain on their resources has turned into a source of national pride and wonder. It's an amazing shift. It all leads up to this beautiful, quiet moment. Raldrosal, the minister, is standing on Gulliver's shoulder, and he's speaking to him not as a captive, but as an equal. He offers a deal. A promise of peace in exchange for the promise of freedom. In the end, in a land that was totally obsessed with everything being miniature, the one thing the Lilliputians measured wasn't Gulliver's enormous size. It was the size of his kindness. It was never about his height. It was always about his heart. And so this story leaves us with this. It kind of forces us to look at our own lives and ask, who or what do we dismiss, just because of its size or because we think it's insignificant? Gulliver learned that the smallest among us can have immense courage, incredible ingenuity, and real wisdom. And that's a powerful lesson about the importance of looking past the surface.